Good morning. This is Paula. I hope you're well and healthy and enjoying your life. Today, I want to talk about something very personal, very interesting, I believe, to each one of us, which is our spiritual connections that we have and we have had in our lives. But before I get into that topic, I wanted to show you something. This is a bone carving that was given to me from my recent trip to New Zealand with my dear brother and Ehoa and missionary companion, Sione Hedig. Had this made by, I believe, his nephew, and it was carved specially just for me. And I'm going to leave it back here on my little table here for you to be able to enjoy. But I just wanted to let you know that I have so much love in my life. I have so many people that give to me. And John has been one of the best, and I can't thank him or Eletta, his wife, and all the people in New Zealand enough for such a beautiful, wonderful, loving, terrific trip. I've talked to a lot of people over the years, and one of the common denominators of everybody is that there are certain experiences that we have in our lives that are very powerful, very significant. Many people have some type of connection, have had some kind of connection with the other side, with God, with other people, entities. There's all kinds of different varieties of experiences. But one thing I can tell you is that through my experience in talking to people and interviewing people, these experiences are probably the most precious and memorable experiences that they've ever had. And I feel like that when people have died, people feel the presence of their parents, of other people, many different experiences with children, having a sense that there's someone else there. But just in general life, we have this experience where we sense that there's more to us. There's more to us than just our body and this experience. We have this sense that there's intelligence, that there's flow, that there's gifts being given to us, that we're being taken care of. There's so many experiences in life that are just like this spiritual connection thing, because basically we are not just our bodies. The immensity of what we are, the biggest part of us is our soul, and the part of us that is connected with the intelligence and the intelligences. What I wanted to do is to share with you my experience and tell you a little story about my life a little bit, and to kind of reflect on some of the things that I've been taught and coached on from the divine. When I was a child, I think probably 5 or 6 or 7, I used to go outside on the north-facing slope of our house, and there was a pretty little grass area there. And during the day, sometimes I would just lay there in the sun. At night, sometimes I'd look up in the stars, I'd look up in the heavens, and I'd wonder about God, about what life was about. I wondered about all the stars and how big it was and all those situations. And it was always intriguing. I was always curious about this whole thing, about this other dimension, this thing that I've been taught about God and Jesus and all these different experiences that were taught to me from a religious perspective. But then I wanted more. I always wanted more. And so later on in my life, I discovered something that I think is very profound. And it makes this experience of connecting at a spiritual level with this other dimension, with entities, with intelligences, almost commonplace, meaning that it can occur to us all the time, anytime. So these very, very precious experiences that we've had, which we remember, we'll never forget, we are tied to those and we love those. Now I'm going to extend it into another sphere for those of you who haven't gone that way, that we can actually have a communication through our thoughts with any intelligence. And I've chosen to directly speak with intelligences for probably the last 35 years of my life. But it's also a comment on what's possible for us as human beings. that this experience is not limited to just what we can see and what we can hear. It extends into what we can feel and what thoughts come to us. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this process of moving beyond our normal senses into this area of feelings, into the area of thought, and also important, the thought exchange with the intelligence of the universe. So I'm going to talk to you more about this, and in a way, I wanted to also let you know that this video is sponsored by me and my nonprofit, which is called Spiritual Solutions. The nonprofit is geared up and based on the premise that all of us can communicate intellectually and spiritually and at a deep feeling level with the divine, and be able to teach people on how to do this, and also to be able to share the ideas that come to me and others. It's a beautiful, wonderful experience, and I want to share this with you because it's so important to each one of us that we extend this relationship beyond just waiting for something to happen to making it happen on a regular basis, so that there's conversations and the relationships are a possible ramification of that. So here we go. Years ago, I had this rather curious notion, and I wondered if I could talk to the person that I had been taught was the coolest, the smartest, the most loving person that ever lived, which was Jesus. And I was in a very big problem in my life. I was going through a divorce. I was going through problems with my business. Everything had crunched down on me all at once, and I was in the worst place of my life. I was literally beat up and down. And I had this idea that maybe I could get some help. In the process, what I did was I got quiet and I asked some questions. And in response to that, this beautiful, wonderful entity called Jesus helped me with this and started talking to me about his life. And this is in a book that I wrote called Jesus Live. It's available on Amazon and other places. And this book may be one of the most profound and interesting documents that I think has ever been developed. And I say that not because I wrote it, but because he gave the ideas to me. So I want to share some of the ideas that came to me as a result of the situation that I was in, and also as a result of my questions to him. I want to give you a flavor for what happens when we make inquiries in thought-wise, when we make inquiries in our head, that we can communicate and receive information as a result of the inquiry. So I'm going to share with you my inquiry, given the background that I was going through, this divorce and all the problems I was having in my life, and to see if you can grasp the beauty of this information that was being given to me. It's not just applies to me, but to everyone, and I hope that it's useful and insightful for you also. So I asked Jesus this question. I want to ask you how you learned to be so insightful and wise, and to see the underlying issues that were going on with people, like seeing their intents and then the deeper solutions to their problems. I asked this question because whenever I read about Jesus in the New Testament and other places, it seemed like he was so insightful. It seemed like he just read everything that was going on behind the situation and the conversation, and he addressed those rather than the superficial types of things. It always intrigued me, this insight that he had. This is what he came back and said. You have this gift also. You can feel it already. I listened to God and spoke to God and learned and developed myself from the blessed connection. Any one of you can make this same connection. And when you do, you gain more insights and understanding than you realize. I just love how he shares this with us, that this is something that he did on a regular basis, and it developed him. But he didn't just say, well, this is just me and I'm the only one that can do this. He said, any one of you can make this same connection. And that's my statement to each one of you. And I've been teaching this and talking about this for many, many years. Any one of you can make the same connection. And when you do, you gain more insights and understanding than you realize. This is so profound. This has been my experience, is whenever I check in, whenever I have a communication with them, it's not just words, but it's feelings, it's sensations. And every time I get in that space of love, of concern, of care, new things show up for me and I feel better. I feel more at ease. I feel peaceful. I'm sure my heart rate goes down. I'm sure my blood pressure goes down. My stress levels go down because I'm in this place of love with God, with the other entities that I communicate with. And this can happen for you also. He continues, you see, when you open up to a divine connection, much more intelligence than you sense is flowing through you. Suddenly, you become aware of other impulses and thoughts. You begin to feel what is going on with others. You have the conversations that have always been going on between your body and the intelligence, and they become more visible to you. So there's this process of becoming aware of the impulses of our thoughts, to sense things. And what he's explaining here is that these conversations that we have with others change. They shift from just words to where you're connecting and you're feeling and sensing what's going on with that other person. And that conversation then turns into something much larger and bigger than what you probably have perceived in the past. This is the process that I invoked on during my earliest days. I had an intense interest in the world of God and what was going on behind the illusions. I, like you, wanted to see the root causes of behavior and what people were doing that could be shifted to help them find more joy and peace. This intense interest, I believe, is in all of us because we're at a soul level in many instances, and we're trying to develop this interest more and figure out answers to, because we see things going on all around us. There are people that are dying, there are people that are changing, there's people, all things going on, and it makes you wonder because a baby appears, a person dies, all these things, like what is going on? How are these different situations affecting me? He continues, I wanted to share and teach, and that is what I did. I did this from my youth. When I came to others that had great knowledge, I asked them questions and listened to them, and then asked more. Each of my interactions was based on my strong desires to learn more and grasp more from any source I could find, particularly the divine source. If we have this kind of desire to learn more and we ask questions and we always searching for and being curious about new possibilities, then these kinds of things will show up for us, particularly the divine source. And this is what I'm going to talk mostly about, is the divine source, because this source has the wisdom of the ages, it has the wisdom of eons, and the information is so much better and personal. You may also do similar acts. There are so many topics and ideas that are available. I found that with each new inquiry, a whole new world opened up to me, literally. Any concept of the universe can be delved into and explored for as long as you want, since there are virtually no limits to the development of each idea. This is the step. This is the challenge I'm giving to you, suggesting to you that each one of us look for more ideas. We make new inquiries. We learn new ideas. We develop ourselves, and any concept can be developed in the universe. These ideas have been around for eons, and all it takes is for us to tap into it, to ask, to develop and expand upon each one of them. The development and expansion of ideas and concepts that inspire and thrill is what I am involved with now. Can you imagine the excitement of being able to take a topic like love and be able to indulge yourself into the expansion of it? How you would enjoy having the luxury of playing and splashing in the ideas that help all of us feel so good. I wanted to learn so much, and yet time there was so limited. I was moved so quickly into a space where I was a teacher that my learning was cut short. Now there are no time limits, and I spend all my time developing and coaching. The abundance of everything here is heavenly. So this kind of answers a real interesting question that I've always had is like, okay, so Jesus was here, he came back, and then what happened? Where is he now? What is he doing? What do gods do in their spare time? What happens when you move on? And this is a really great answer. He's saying that he's developing and expanding ideas and concepts that inspire and thrill. And he has plenty of time to do this. Each one of us has time on our hands. Each one of us has opportunities to be able to explore a particular topic, particularly topics like love, and be able to just develop and grow and move into it so deeply. And this is his challenge, I think, to us, is to find the time and use the time that we have when we don't have time limits and spend all of our time developing and coaching and enjoying the abundance that is around us. To me, this is such a profound message and idea that we can learn and expand upon the ideas and the concepts of the divine, of the universe. Each one of us can make an inquiry in our mind, ask a question right now, and you'll see that there's ideas that come to you. Ask additional questions. And what has worked for me the best is to have my computer in front of me and to, when I ask a question, to record what the answers are that I get. And I have over 30 years of material that are available on this book, on other books that are available that I've written, to share with you what I consider to be the greatest and the most interesting ideas available in the universe. So as a young child, I was curious. As an adult, I developed a technique and a capability, I suppose, similar to what Jesus is talking about, where I connect with God, I connect with Goddess, I connect with Jesus. And this is the most profound, the most interesting, the most fulfilling, beautiful, loving space that I've ever experienced in life. And I say to you in all sincerity that that is the best experience that you can have as a human, is to have this connection with the divine, this other dimension, these other entities that will and are willing to communicate with us on a regular basis. That as we want to develop ourselves, the best step is to make that connection with the other side, with the entities that love us and care for us, so that we can expand and develop ourselves as human beings. And then as we expand and develop ourselves, then we can share the ideas that come to us with others if they're willing and they're interested. The most powerful thing that you can do in this life, in my view, is to ask a question mentally, and then to record the responses if you want. I think it's important to record them because there's so much material you can't retain it, and it's hard to bring it back all the time. And so what we're doing with Spiritual Solutions is we're trying to develop a receptacle of the ideas that everybody gets so that we can teach each other. And we're in the process of making that available, coincidentally, through AI. So I would love for you to add some ideas that you have. Talk about the experiences that you've had where you've had connections with the divine in the comments. Tell me about the most spiritual experiences you've ever had. Tell me about the times when you have been down and out, you've been through a traumatic experience, like a divorce or a death, and there's been ideas come to you, and you've had ideas shared with you that inspired you and lifted you up. Let's make a great conversation. Let's make a great community of people that want to talk about this experience of being able to communicate with the divine and having the feelings and the insights that come to us as a result of that process show up for everybody. This is, I believe, the most important task that we can do in our lives is make that connection so that when it's time for us to go to the other side, that we are amongst friends and those that we know and we love. And that's the process that's possible for every one of us. I highly recommend that you get the book, Jesus Live, and read it and get into it. And we're going to talk some more about it here also. Let's communicate some more. I look forward to hearing your comments and your ideas on this. And we'll continue to share these beautiful ideas that come to us from the divine. Thank you. I love you.